Good evening, everybody, and welcome to PAPAtv. This is live pinball, and this is episode 6. So this is the 6th time we are doing this. It gets better every week, unless it doesn't, in which case we apologize. My name is John Replogle. I'm here in the booth with Mark Steinman, who's running the controls tonight. I'm here with Papa manager Elizabeth Cromwell. Hi, Elizabeth. How you doing tonight?
Hey, John.
So, what's new in the world of pinball?
In the world of pinball?
Well, yeah.
Oh, Walking Dead just released, so that's pretty awesome. Lots of people online talking about getting that, playing their first games on that. And the other week they had a launch party for The Big Lebowski over in there somewhere.
Elizabeth, you're involved in the Pittsburgh Pinball League, right?
Sometimes.
What is there anything big going on down there recently? Are they in the middle of a league right now?
They are in the middle of a league right now. I am not playing this season. John is.
See, I would have just assumed that you were in first.
Well, yes, I am in first in no points.
If anyone wants to see a pretty awesome run of attempts at the Pittsburgh Pinball League, take a look at my IFPA profile page, and you will see several 50 place plus finishes.
I think the reason for that is like you get halfway through a season and you're like, I'm bored. I want to go drink beer and hang out.
No, John's wrong. It's that's just not correct.
I have a specific goal when I play in a league for a season, and that goal is to be the natural zero. I go out and I try really hard, but I want to get no points. I want to be in last place at the end of the season.
You want to be in last place.
Right, because then when I am not, I am pleasantly surprised with myself.
You know, when I was in 8th grade in elementary school, I tried to finish dead last in a 5K walk. And I ended up getting an in-school suspension because the ambulance was driving like 1 foot behind me for about 4 hours. And, so attempting to finish last isn't always all it's cracked up to be.
So they have to stay there for the entire time that walk's going on,
as long as the longest. And, you know, being just a punk kid, I hadn't really put that together that that's a bad thing to tie up an ambulance.
There are no ambulances involved in my trying to score last in the PPL.
So, John, what all do we got going on today?
Well, first of all, I want to spend just a few minutes. I want to talk about the Replay Effects Festival. And Elizabeth, I know something happened with the Space Army this week. Why don't you try to explain it a little better for our viewers so they know what's going on?
Right. So the Space Army is our volunteers for the Replay FX, the Replay Festival Extravaganza. And we need a lot of people to help pull this off. So this week we went live with the volunteer form, which you can find at replayfx.org. You can volunteer your time to help us make this the greatest arcade in the universe. And that form is now up and it's available for anyone to submit. And we will then take a look and see if you're qualified to help defeat space crime.
Yeah, so if you want to be a part of it, you want to be a part of the Space Army, check out the website. A lot of good stuff.
I mean, what's the requirements and what's the perks? I mean, what's the carrot, what's the stick, so to speak?
So the requirements are you have to put in the shifts are 6 hours. You have to put in 4 of them across 4 days, and for this commitment to defeating intergalactic evil, you win a you win a free pass for the entire weekend into the show, so you can check out everything that's happening when you're not on space duty. You get a free T-shirt that is only for Space Army members. You get tickets to the VIP party. You get raffle tickets. You get my undying gratitude, which is really hard to earn.
There is one requirement that you didn't mention. You have to be able to handle a moonraker.
Yes, and you have to be 18 years or older.
Well, I think that goes with being able to handle a moonraker, but
there's some moonraker prodigies out there.
I mean, you mentioned to me earlier, actually, there was a question on the application form that would automatically disqualify you.
There is a question on the application form that if you answer incorrectly...
This is on the test. This is on the test. Listen up, everybody.
If you think that Greedo shot first, you are ineligible to be a member of the Space Army.
Don't even go into it. If they don't understand, don't even go into it. Just
even
move on.
If you select that as a joke, you are ineligible to be in the Space Army.
I just wanted to. I really want to go into it, but
I see Bowen shaking his head. Bowen, if you think Greedo shot first, you will not be a member of the festival
Well,
or of the Space Army.
thanks for spoiling the surprise, Mark.
Greedo shot?
Don't you dare, Bowen.
So, as Mark just pointed out, we have a special guest tonight from out of town. Actually, we have multiple special guests. Ooh. And the first is from Boston. Yeah, I'm drinking some Boston lager.
Bowen, what are you going to be playing for us today?
Root beer.
It's pronounced lager. Lager. Boston lager.
Bahaba.
No.
Bowen, what are you going to be playing for us today?
We got some Wizard of Oz.
Some wicked awesome Wizard of Oz.
That was like Scottish. What accent was that?
It's not Wizard, it's crap. It's a Wizard of Oz, some faces, and some Addams Family.
Well, let's go ahead and fire up the Wizard of Oz here and see if we can work through a game or two and explain what's going on with this.
The Wizard of Oz.
And Elizabeth, why don't you come and join me again in probably in a game or two, and we'll ask you a couple more questions.
All right, what do you want to know?
What do you do?
You plunge the ball.
All right,
you
that's a
shoot
good
stuff.
start.
That's a skill shot right there, baby. Or was it? I don't know. Maybe not. You trap the witch, and then you go down the outlane and drain, you know, like that.
All right, let's move on to faces.
Well, that was
good stuff there. I got 1,836 points, man.
that's one more than I would get.
No, Bowen, whenever you're walking up to this game, what's your primary objective?
All right, so probably the primary objective in terms of the overall game is to get a big stack of multi-balls. And the easiest multi-ball to reach is probably this rescue multi-ball. And to put a ball in the rescue lock, you have to first get these. What's going on here? So there's a lock in the back with that monkey. And if you played Shadow, there's like a shot for the battlefield. It's a little bit like that in the upper left playfield. Spell out rescue, and spelling out rescue will give you the opportunity to do one of two things. One is that you can start the multi-ball by going into that hole in the back that I just didn't hit, or you can lock the ball instead and try to complete rescue again for a larger multi-ball. It's kind of a nice risk-reward, actually, that you can make a 2-ball multi-ball out of this, or you can make as much as a 5-ball multi-ball, I believe. I'm not completely certain of that. Only Keith Johnson knows for sure.
Well, Keith is a master of complicated rule sets, and we actually featured a World Poker Tour last week.
That's true. This rule set might be more complicated than World Poker Tours.
All right, so also joining us on the microphone now, we have Tim Sexton from Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the microphone, Tim. It's good to have you.
Thanks for having me, John.
Tim, do you have any time on Wizard of Oz?
Toto, no.
Yeah, I do have, in my local arcade with extra balls set to unlimited, I do have a 2.5 million Grand Champion score at Wizard of Oz. I didn't quite reach the Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that final wizard mode, but I spent a good hour playing the game, at least that time.
That's a heck of a game.
That's a very impressive score. Yeah, there's been, I think the best score I've seen is 4 million from Carl in California. I've seen like 700,000 from Ed in Canada and a couple other high scores like that. But so right here, the door is I think going to open. Breakdown door. You hit the door opens, and then you've got to grab the ball again and put it through behind that door. It's not easy.
Put it in its hole,
then,
Bowen.
Of course, you can just drain and lose.
Actually, Bowen, we're going to make you step away from the game a second.
Okay.
We're going to do an alteration.
Ooh, an alteration.
And specifically, we're going to turn down the volume of the game just a little bit because it was bleeding through all the microphones.
Ah. Ha 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 ha. Well, I got a match so I get to play again. Right?
Yep.
Free game, man. There's skill shots. There's a skill shot up the top. There's like 4 different skill shots. I usually go for the witch because the witch scores points, and then it starts a hurry up on the witch. If you collect enough of these witch hurry ups,
Witch hurry ups.
You get to a round where you're beating down the witch in a special multi-ball. It's sort of like a mini wizard mode.
So which skill shot is that, Bowen?
The which skill shot is?
No, which skill shot is that?
Which one?
Which one?
I don't know. Ooh, Thunderpants.
What's the issue there, Bowen?
Which skill shot?
Which skill shot? Hey, Bowen, pull the microphone a little closer to your face, please.
So in some of the earlier software, which is what I'm more used to, it's much more difficult to start the Emerald City multi-ball, the one where you have to get the Tin Man, Scarecrow, and Lion. They've since made that a little easier to start. You go over those spot targets and then up the center ramp when it's lit for lock. So there's lock 1, then you have lock 2, lock Lawman, and then the multi-ball starts.
So one of the questions was, you know, it looks like it's a slow. Wizard of Oz looks like it's a slow-playing game. Is it? And I don't know. I mean, Tim, what do you think? Do you think it's a really slow-playing game?
I think it might start slow at the beginning, but once you get things going, things really start going. What you want to do is, when you start a multi-ball, immediately bring in some other mode, some other multi-ball, and then once you do that, points get really lucrative, but the game, you know, you can bring up to 5 balls, I think, into play at the same time, so that makes the play field quite crazy.
So if you were Bowen, let's just pretend for a second here.
Yeah.
What would you be shooting at first when you walked up to the game?
I would probably do the same thing he did and start out with Rescue, but I'm going to keep an eye on my locks for the Emerald City multi-ball, which is that top right quadrant of the screen there, because when I start Rescue multi-ball, I immediately want to bring in some other multi-ball mode because points are pretty much multiplied together, especially there's also the Crystal Ball mode on the bottom left there, and that's a playfield doubler as long as that multi-ball lasts.
Right,
you
but
can
it's
stack that with any other multi-ball as well.
It's also dangerous, though, if you had the wrong mode running, right? I mean, like, because I know there's different... I mean, Bowen, do you know what all the color combinations are for the Crystal Ball?
So there's a bunch of stuff set up now. I'll tell you, 3 things are set up now all together, and they can all kind of help each other. So just show you what those are. The Emerald City multi-ball is lit if I shoot the ramp, and you get that by going over the spot targets enough times. The shot on the left will also start a multi-ball, the Crystal Ball multi-ball, and the color of the crystal balls apparently tells you which multi-ball it is, and I don't know those details. And the Fireball Frenzy is also lit by shooting the witch a couple more times. So it's really up to the player to decide what order they want to start to bring these things in. I tend to want to start the Emerald City multi-ball right away and then try to pick up the other things while I'm in there.
We'd also like to take a second to welcome
But that's not what happens.
welcome the people from Farsight who are joining us. Mark, we have a question.
Now all the lights will go.
Mark, we have a question to explain what PAPA is and what we're looking at.
Oh, okay. Well, PAPA is it's just the acronym for the Professional and Amateur Pinball Association. We run the PAPA World Pinball Championships and also Pinburg, which is the largest tournament in the world.
You don't start the 2-ball multi-ball first.
And we also, at the end of next summer, are going to be running the Replay FX Arcade and Gaming Festival. You can find information on that at replayfx.org. That's going to include a bunch of classic video games in addition to pinball. What we're looking at now is basically a weekly broadcast that we run, and it's just kind of a let's play. We have a broadcast booth in our facility. It's just a giant arcade, and we set up games every week and, have at them. Tonight we're going to be playing Faces, Wizard of Oz, and Addams Family. And on Wizard of Oz right now is Bowen Cairns, who's the PAPA 16 World Pinball Champion.
He's some good.
He is. Bowen, what's going on?
All right, so this is during Emerald City multi-ball. I've also started one of the Munchkin rounds by going around the mini play field a couple times. Just collected a jackpot, and there's a ball up top here, so ideally I want to start the... if I could have gotten that up in the top there, that would have started a multi-ball, I believe. If I can break down the door... shoot. But you can tell the score really changed over there. I went into that multi-ball at about 30 grand, and I'm out, and I'm at 130. So getting these stacks and playing multi-balls together really gives the player an opportunity to score big on this game in a hurry.
Bowen, do you have any advice for, we just got a group of people from Farsight checking out the broadcast. Do you have any advice for new pinball players?
Yeah, so if you're brand new to pinball, the first thing that I would say to do is just make sure you let go of the flipper button after you flip the ball. Because people tend to flip and then they watch and then they don't realize that they're still holding the button in. The ball can come flying back at you pretty quickly, and if you're not able to react because you're holding the flipper up, you'll definitely lose. That's just something that people tend not to think about in the moment that they're starting to play. Of course, don't flip both flippers at once, and don't play games with weak flippers unless scoring is doubled while you do it.
Yeah, so I'd like to mention that weak flippers is probably one of the more dangerous of the crystal ball modes to start, because depending on how much wear is on your game, how dirty it is, you might not be able to get to the ball up to those top 2 ramps, and then you're stuck. You can just hit the ball sort of at some targets on the playfield, but you can't really cash out on this 2x multiplied playfield.
You know, Tim, you brought up something it's a pretty interesting difference between pinball and some other video games. One of the things you have to pay attention to whenever you're playing pinball is the actual physical maintenance on the game or the condition of it. There's sometimes just some shots that you can't do. And, you know, it's not a situation where you're going to be playing Pac-Man or, you know, Call of Duty or something like that, and you just won't be able to walk through a particular door because, you know, whoever works on that house didn't fix it right or something like that. You know, they're all digital. But here, yeah, if something's broken or something's not working correctly, you have to adapt and you have to adjust your game to maximize your score with that added hindrance.
So the thing I don't like about the weak flipper mode is it's not that it makes it harder to make the shots. I can deal with that. I just don't like the fact that it actually feels like it almost changes the position on the flipper I have to shoot the ball from. It's sort of like adjusting to a completely different game in the middle of it and then trying to adjust back when you lose that quick multi-ball.
Yeah, but I think that's more fault with you than the game. I mean, isn't that kind of the point of the weak flippers?
That is a very that is very fair statement. It's all my fault. I don't like it.
Well, you know what happens when you go through all the crystal ball, multi-ball modes? It reverses the position of the flippers, so you have a 3 times playfield multiplier.
He's giving it away.
I'm sorry. You have a 3x playfield multiplier, but suddenly when you hit the left button, the right flipper goes up. When you hit the right button, the left flipper goes up.
All right, hey, Bowen, why don't you fire it up and talk us through a game tutorial style?
Sure, okay. And this is the last one, right?
No, not necessarily.
No, he always plays best when it's the last one. So yes, this is
Bowen,
the last one.
Bowen, we don't have time for you to do any more of these bad games. Just get it right.
Time for one more, right?
Okay. Go for it.
All right. So a big objective early in the game is to try and get a ball locked for a rescue multi-ball. And you do this by hitting the winged monkey targets that are behind the bumpers. Some players actually don't even take the first skill shot because they want to go directly for that winged monkey opportunity. Putting the ball around the right loop and then hitting the 2 targets back there. That will light the lock. If you're moving the ball from one side to the other, there are actually 2 ways to get the ball from right to left. One is to shoot the spinner and then have it kick to the left. The other is to shoot the center ramp, which can be shot from either flipper. Of course, you could always just mess up like that, and then it gets to that flipper anyway. Bounces over usually work. Most of the flipper skills you're used to making on games work on these games. You can do alley passes. You can even do tap passes. But what I can't do apparently is shoot the loop. So once you've made that loop shot, eventually, and I couldn't really tell you why for me that loop is very difficult, but it is. Making that loop, you want to get it to hit those 2 winged monkey targets. It has to hit them both. So if it's only hit one, you just got to go back around again. Or it must have hit it there. So the ball is locked there, and now to get the rescue multi-ball, you must spell out the word rescue. You can get letters in rescue by putting the ball around the back like that. To me, that's the safest way. Once you've spelled out rescue, there are 2 things you can do. One is you can lock the ball in the back. You can see the green light in the back there for a lock. Or you can try to just start the multi-ball. So locking a ball in the back gives you a chance to make bigger multi-balls. But it also means that you then will have to spell out rescue again. So you're like, well, shouldn't that have started the multi-ball going in there? Well, it doesn't unless you spell out rescue and then shoot the door. So this was confusing to me for a while because the display is only really telling you spell out rescue. After spelling rescue, oh, that almost came back through. I wasn't ready for that. I should have been able to get that ball out, actually. So I'm still trying to work towards that multi-ball, the rescue. Meanwhile, the locks are lit for crystal ball. And my goal really is to stack these two multi-balls together so that they can both be available and I can collect the jackpots in both. So the center ramp will lock balls. It's a little bit of an early shot from the right flipper. It can be shot from either flipper. I find it easier from the left. Keep talking, right? No? What are we doing here? All right, crystal ball is ready. And rescue is almost ready. Get out of there. Come on. Ah, shoot.
Bone, what's going on down in the lower left part of the playfield there with the State Fair balloon?
So it's a neat playfield area that was originally there was actually a proto of or some artwork of Pirates of the Caribbean that had something like this down there for parlay, where this bumper, if it can hit all 5 of those targets, you'll get a special round called "There's No Place Like Home," which is a chance to save your ball. It's not an easy round, and it's also not even easy to get all 5 targets down. There's a lot of difficult stuff on this game, but it's interesting because you can get it going, and once you get it going, you can crush, get a huge score. But it feels like a lot of the time you're just kind of near stuff. And then you're trying to get it all built up together. It's like right now I'm going to cash out this crystal ball multi-ball, not crystal ball multi-ball, excuse me, the Emerald City multi-ball, just so I can have something. But I'm actually going to try to concentrate on getting up onto rescue and finishing the targets I need to spell rescue and start the rescue multi-ball. The crystal ball multi-ball is also ready, which would be a chance for me to. And meanwhile, now I've got the Super X. Super X is when you have balls on multiple playfields, it's a double or triple playfield scoring during the moments that you have those going. I'm down 2 balls here. This would start a multi-ball over here, and then the jackpot is lit too. So separating these balls is important, and not messing up is important. That's a really critical save there, because that will continue the multi-balls, I believe. Weak flippers. Okay. I'm not sure what happened there. I must have not been understanding what happened there. And here's rescue multi-ball. So the huge downside is that I've played all these multi-balls separate from one another instead of stacking them together. And so basically I'm not going to pick up any decent score off of these. Well, see, I like that rescue multi-ball has 600-point jackpots. That's what's cool. So rescue multi-ball is to me is very much about trying to arrange other stuff. So I'm concentrating on the targets to get to Emerald City right now, and trying to finish that off and get in there and just look for whatever else is going on. If I can get the ball up top, the upper left playfield also, you can pick up some bonuses there, and the multi-ball's over. Sorry. I am not playing very well, obviously. But score-wise, this game is, even though it had more multi-balls, is not going to score as many points as that previous game, the one that had the stacks. But this is what you've got to do. If you want to score big on Wizard, you've got to get several stacks built together. Now you said Tim's there, that he knows what he's doing much better than I do, probably, and he scored 1 million. I've never gotten anywhere near that score on this game.
Tim, do you have any advice or anything you'd want to chime in and say regarding general strategy?
Well, right now...
Should I put on some sunglasses?
Yeah, maybe. That would help. So I guess the main objective that the game wants you to go for is there's 4 different screens on that very big, colorful display. And the top 2 have a lighter green indicator saying that's completed, and the bottom 2 do not. When you complete all 4 of them, you start a fairly lucrative mode. I believe it's called Destroy the Witch or something like that. And that could be an objective to go for, or you can just go back to building up the multi-balls to get the points.
So is that what is considered Wizard of Oz wizard mode?
It's not. That's a mini wizard mode before the final wizard mode of the game. The final wizard mode of the game is called Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and there's a display that doesn't come up too often somewhere in the menu that shows everything you need to do to get to the wizard mode, which is Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and it's pretty intense. You have to advance through your yellow brick road 50 times. You have to score super jackpots on pretty much every single multi-ball in the game before you can finally get there.
I'd like to mention it's also one of the coolest things in pinball. This pinball machine has a map. I love maps. And this is an example of a pinball machine that gives you a map on how to play the game, which is sort of cool.
Well, you got to get to the Emerald City, right?
Well, yeah, but it's a little more complex than that. There's like,
Follow the yellow
lines. There's lines off of it.
I would think that if there's any game ever
Follow the yellow brick road.
with a simple navigation structure, it would be this one.
Follow the yellow brick road. But here's the map. This is the map. And this is the map. Yeah, that was interesting about getting to Wicked Witch. There are these 4 tasks. And I hadn't noticed that in the center before. And then Somewhere Over the Rainbow is 8 major tasks. But that's the map to get to Wicked Witch, which is one of the 8 tasks you need to get to the final mode.
Good Lord.
And you also have to complete the Wicked Witch to get to that final mode too. You don't just have to. You can't just start it.
All right, so let's try to play one more and get to Wicked Witch.
All right, that sounds good.
Maybe
Also,
play better.
we had a question, and what is the scoring like during Emerald City multi-ball? Tim, do you have what can you tell us about that?
Scoring in this game is something that when it's going, and I don't know what the point values are because I'm so busy trying to stack everything.
Is it exponential or is it linear scoring? I mean, the things always count for the same, or is the scoring increased whenever you're in the multi-ball?
I believe you start getting standard jackpots and you advance. There's more tasks to do. So the first thing you do when you actually start your Emerald City multi-ball is you have to hit a rollover, and then you want to hit that center ramp shot, and that gives a certain jackpot score. Eventually you keep doing that. You want to go to the throne room, and after that I'm not too sure what happens.
Bowen, do you have any idea what the scoring, how the scoring structure actually works?
Yeah, and the thing is with a game like a stacking game, and Simpsons Pinball Party is probably the best example of another game with a similar type of stacking, although it has modes instead of multi-balls. The more stuff you have going at once, the more opportunity there is to just get even more piled together at the same time. I don't remember if I have 2 locks or 3 here, but so if you're stacking stuff, okay, that's lock 2. So you want to be careful not to necessarily start this multi-ball until all of your other opportunities are lined up. So now I'm going to try to start the rescue.
Just so you know, for the main multi-ball there, Bowen, the lock actually flashes when it's ready for the to start the multi-ball.
Okay,
and it
good.
was solid there for you.
That is what I thought. Like here, getting these rescue letters, this is a difficult mini play field just because you only have that one flipper. I don't play that mini play field very well at all. And I'm not sure how to play it, to be honest. I try my best on it, but it's tough.
Would you say that there's strategy to something, even though it only has one flipper?
Sure, because you can still nudge. There is a wall over there, and you can push the ball off that wall. Just can't. You don't have the same kind of control you would with full flippers.
So I heard that there was sort of an exploit for tournament scoring strategy which had to deal with horses of different colors. And I don't know if anybody wants to field this particular question, but because I actually don't know the answer myself on how you would do that. Tim?
I'm not going to be able to tell you how it affects scoring, but I could sort of tell you how you go about collecting it. There's those horse targets which are lit up all in different colors on the playfield.
Where are they?
Anywhere you see a horse silhouette, you can see the one below the wizard.
It's the one that's sort of light blue right now.
Did it just give you
right
the
above the slingshot?
So this is the No Place Like Home round.
Hold that thought there. I want
Sure.
to watch the No Place Like Home.
And
round.
it's over.
Oh God. Well, what was happening?
So there's 4 tasks to complete, and if you can complete them all, you get your ball back. So it's basically like a death mode, survival, good luck,
And
try
that-
not to drain,
And that's a time mode.
and it is a time mode.
Okay.
You get some time back when you complete each of the 4 tasks.
Okay. Sorry, Tim. What were you saying there about horses of a different color?
Horses of a different color, so they're pretty much constantly on the playfield, and you can get a little bit of status update information in the upper right quadrant of the screen as you play it. And as you hit those horses and change their color, so I don't know what you want to change their color to or why they need to be different colors in the first place.
You
But
just
they-
think the horses are fine as they are?
Yeah,
Is that-
Yeah, I mean, all
I'm
horses.
fine with the
why-
horses.
it's-
Well, actually, let me ask you guys this: like in the movie, where were the horses?
The horses were inside the Emerald City,
Oh.
and he's like, "Oh, that's a horse of a different color," and they let him into the city, and he's like, "Whoa, why would you say that?" Oh, that's why.
At the very bottom left of the display, underneath where it says ball 1 of 3, there's a horse there, and it's a certain color. And as you get more horses,
My
more
horse is
horses show up there.
purple.
And their horses, they're different, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yes.
but if your horses are the same color, then your horses are not necessarily different colors, and then your horses can be worth horse color
What?
points. And then there's something about the square root of pi, I think.
What color are they comparing this horse to?
That horse, I just got a green horse, which doesn't match my purple horse, which is bad apparently. But it's a different color, so that might be good.
But what it ends up doing is it increases your Munchkin multiplier. Your Munchkin multiplier is points you pick up when you start one of the modes by using the upper right playfield, shooting the ball around the house a bunch of times. That'll start 1 of 4 Munchkin modes. And all those points you collect in that Munchkin mode are added to your bonus. Horse of a different color can multiply that bonus too to make it more lucrative.
Oh, that's how you get those really big bonuses then.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. And just to reiterate, to start that Munchkin mode, you have to spell rainbow, correct?
You spell rainbow, that unlocks the center ramp where it will divert it to the upper playfield. Then you have to use that small flipper to shoot it around the house as it spins around. A certain amount of times based on how it's set, and it gets harder for each successive mode. The 4th mode's actually a multi-ball too, so you can stack those once again with your other multi-balls.
This game
Right.
is
That's-
incredibly
that's
complicated.
ideal. That's the ideal there, to stack like all 4 multi-balls at once. Okay, the rescue multi-ball is ready, and there it begins. And so now that I've got rescue multi-ball running, I want to immediately start the crystal ball, not the crystal ball, but that would be an option. The crystal ball multi-ball is also ready, which I can get if I shoot the spinner on the left here. So this will start a crystal ball multi-ball. That ball will come back. Weak flippers again, and meanwhile the center ramp is also lit for the Emerald City multi-ball. So now all 3 multi-balls are running at once, and I think I entered this at around 12,000.
This is your ideal situation in Wizard of Oz.
Well, I don't know.
Besides weak flippers, maybe you want a different mode for your crystal
Yeah,
ball mode.
the weak flippers really burns, but it's not that bad because it's Papa. But yeah, a lot of times the weak flippers would be just a crusher. And right now the center ramp is worth the jackpot for the Emerald City.
Why are the weak flippers not as bad here?
Because this place is cool.
Okay.
But let's say a place on location already had fairly weak flippers,
Oh, all right. I see what you're saying.
then you're just gonna be in trouble. Like right there, there's what John was talking about, where I made a mistake there, but also I hit the center target, which returns the flippers to their normal strength briefly. This is the only pinball machine I know of with the word stymie as part of the awards. Where you can stymie the witch briefly. and then basically eliminate the effect of the witch mode for a brief period, which is interesting. I think it's a pretty cool effect, but it also, as John's saying, in weak flipper mode or no flipper hold mode, which is the other one I hate, you get into these situations where you're starting to expect how the game is playing, and then you're back to normal, and it can mess you up.
I just wanted to point out that
that's not necessarily bad, right? Go ahead.
When you ended that multi-ball, you started at 12,000, you ended at 112,000 in about 45 seconds.
All right, so only 40 more times and I'll catch up to Carl.
You're on your way.
I am.
I have a question for all the people who have microphones. Has anybody actually played Wizard of Oz while listening to Pink Floyd at the same time? I mean, maybe your game would get better.
I've never tried that, but it's definitely something
I would do
I
that.
might do next time.
Don't you have to start? You'd have to start it at exactly the right point.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it
it would have to match up perfectly.
If someone makes a 2001 Space Odyssey, then I'll break out Echoes.
That would be a heck of a pinball game. Shoot Dave.
What out? It's Dark Side of the Moon played with Wizard of Oz, right?
Right.
Okay.
I actually went online and watched that.
I know with the with Echoes, there's two different versions. They have like an abbreviated version and then a long version. The abbreviated version obviously doesn't work. The long version, it's perfect. It's really surprising at how well it matches up.
I found myself being creeped out about 25 minutes in. I was very creeped out. And Gravatar has been listening to Pink Floyd while playing Wizard of Oz. Gravatar, did it improve your play? I want to know that. Let us know.
So, Bowen, you have two, theoretically halfway to the mini wizard mode. What else do you have left?
I don't know.
Looks like the bottom two. One's the haunted forest. Is that right, Tim?
No, that's not correct. That's actually hitting the witch hurry-ups 3 times.
Oh, okay.
And he also has to do this Munchkin mode that he's been doing, shooting the ball around the house.
Okay.
How many Munchkin modes do you have to play? All of them, or just one, or what?
I would assume all of them. I mean, I'm guessing.
Look at that. I mean, there was 100,000 in bonus there.
Wow, if you could have multiplied that up even farther, that would have been that. Maybe that's the key to getting those big scores then.
So, Tim, he has 3 of the 4. What's the 4th one that he needs to do?
He needs to hit his witch hurry-ups. He needs, I don't know how many he has, but he needs 3 of them, and then he needs to start a mode called Fireball Frenzy.
All right, Witch, you're going down.
Which?
Stop it.
I can't help myself. Sorry, Bob.
So that looks like a 3, so this should be the last one he needs to complete that bottom quadrant. And then we'll see the mini wizard mode of the game if Bowen can do that.
He's calling you out, Bowen.
He's saying if Bowen could do that. Wow.
I know, right?
We usually don't give him.
I'm going to try to start rescue here, and that would help me maybe. Oh! So if you get the lock instead, then you basically can't start rescue. You have to spell rescue again. But you get the sort of benefit of being closer to getting like a big multi-ball.
Oh, that was a nice nudge off the side there.
Right, so you were asking about the skill on the upper playfield, and there are skills, like that's it right there. So now I'm going to get a bigger rescue multi-ball out of this because I had locked more balls. So the jackpot is 875 to start instead of 600, you know? That's what we're talking about. Extra balls lit too.
Can he make progress to the witch hurry-ups in this multi-ball?
Yes, he can.
Right?
You can, yes. So all those things that are being displayed right now in the bottom left are sort of secondary modes, but that's where they show up for information. So completing Crystal Ball and completing those haunted letters are just scoring modes. They don't actually give any progress towards the mini wizard mode, the Wicked Witch mode.
That's an important shot there because it's going to start a crystal ball on top.
But this is points.
Oh! And I have one lock for the other one. This is still going, right? So that's 2 locks. So again, it's all stacking. You're trying to basically get everything you can lined up together. And there it is. So this is going to be better than it was before. because I have a better rescue. I have lights on instead. And I can pick up basically all sorts of good stuff now. Now, one of the things you might concentrate on is the rainbow targets to try and get yourself onto the mini playfield, which I am here. When you have a ball on a mini playfield, all scoring is double or triple depending on how many mini playfields are activated. So if you have a ball on 2 different playfields at once, you will have double scoring. If you have a ball on all 3 playfields, you will have triple scoring. And there's some crazy, like, ridiculous 900 and something % X jackpot that is physically, but, you know, impossible to actually happen. Because you get, like, super duper mega extreme wizard jackpot of doom or some crazy shit.
We were talking about that on
the
new Star Trek code, that you can possibly get 32 times super ramps, which
oh, that's pretty boss.
There was a huge one in the 2 towers on Lord of the Rings.
What is going on up there? I've got something going on up the top. I don't. Oh, because lights are on, I don't have any clue what it actually is lit up there. So here's where lights on burns you. You're supposed to be able to get up to the top for rescue, and this is the fireball frenzy.
So this is the last mode you need. As soon
Can you
as you
tell me
drain,
a
you can
little
start.
bit? Tell us a little bit about how to beat fireball frenzy.
Well, if the lights were on, you could do it. If they're all
Seriously?
flashing, yeah, because there's a pulsing white light that rotates between the different shots on the playfield and hitting the correct one. So right now it's that Wizard of Oz shot on the bottom right.
The throne room?
The throne room, yes.
That one? How about that one?
Now it just moved to the center ramp.
Center ramp, eh?
And I think 10 of these is that.
10?
10 of these
Oh,
completes
man, I
the
can't
mode.
make 10.
Wow.
I can barely make 1. What's next?
Throne room's there again.
This? What about this? If I go there, will that be cool? 8 more for Jewel? What's a Jewel?
Singer.
Nah, just kidding. Oh, yeah. Is she homeless again, or is she? No. Sorry.
So
I
here's
apologize to
the
Jewel and her family.
I'm sure she's watching. Does he have to complete? He has to get 8 more of those in the Fireball Frenzy in order to enter the mini wizard mode.
Well,
Is
No,
that
to
what I'm-
enter the somewhere over the rainbow wizard mode.
Oh, okay. But right now he could jump into the mini wizard mode.
Yes.
And how do you start that?
I believe it's a witch shot starts that.
Which one?
Which shot? What have I done? And to Captain Bizarre.
You're talking to somebody who lives in Salem, Massachusetts, so I know all of the potential witch jokes.
Captain Bizarre asked, "How do you get to 32 times super ramps?" And I'm sorry, I'm not going to answer it on this broadcast.
Take
You're
the
just going to
glass
have. Well, yeah, that's one option, but
All right,
you're going to
so
have to go
now
back and
what?
watch
Here
it.
we go. Next shot scores.
This is a multi-ball mode too, so
All
it's
right.
going to give you 2 balls
So,
and a ball
can you
saver.
tell everybody how to win this mode,
You
especially me.
Tell Bellad quickly, by the way.
Is it over? Did I just lose?
No, you have a ball saver for a pretty decent amount of time, but what you want to shoot for is anything that's lit in white and not green on the playfield.
Okay. What is it, like Emerald City or something?
I think
Why
so.
do I only have 2 balls? Oh, that's a good shot. When do I get more balls?
You won't get any more in this mode.
I want more balls.
And if you drain, you have to do everything to start over. 1 ball play, that's it. You're
Why
done.
didn't you just you didn't tell me I couldn't drain?
It's self-evident, Bone.
Oh, man. What do I have to do next?
You
Everything?
have to do
Everything over
everything
again.
again.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Well, that was enlightening.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually never
I'm
have
going
gotten to
Munchkin
that.
multiplier. I don't care about any of the rest of this
So
stuff.
Tim, what should he do next? I mean, how close is he to the actual wizard mode?
I'm nowhere near the actual wizard mode.
He's right. He's very far away from the actual wizard mode.
So what should he do at this point in the game? I mean, just chop wood and try and do that again?
Yeah, pretty much. I can't give you a
We're
better
moving
answer
to
than that.
Addams family.
If he's playing in a tournament, definitely just chop wood
No,
and
absolutely.
go back to the stacking multi-ball strategy.
Yeah, Tim's absolutely right. The multi-ball stack that you saw is really the crucial way of scoring a high value.
I mean, you have a pretty respectable score going on right now.
You can get a ton of points off of that destroy the witch round. Unfortunately, I didn't pull it off, but
I don't
just
think
that
we.
round by itself it can be a good 300,000 by itself.
Oh wow.
I don't think we've talked about Toto yet. I see the 4 rollovers on the lower right side and the right out lane. How does Toto work?
I like Toto's earlier stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
So how does the Toto targets work?
If you roll over them when you drain down that right out lane, it shoots a ball back into play. You've got about 10 seconds to shoot it up the center ramp. If you do that, you get to resume your ball. If not, then it turns off the power and you drain.
So just another time ball saver.
Right.
Yeah, except it only takes 1 shot, and it'll yell at you, 1 shot, instead of having pretty much a timed, unlimited number of chances. And you get more than 1 shot, realistically. It's like 5 seconds or so.
More importantly, does it do it in that exact voice?
What?
The 1 shot.
It does. It shouts 1 shot. Why does it shout 1 shot? I do not know, but that is what it does.
It sounded cooler than 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
It's better than hurry.
Oh, the
Hurry.
split second.
Hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, I got horse of a different color. My Munchkin multiplier is complete for something.
There's an interesting strategy on this game that may be unique to Wizard of Oz, where if you have a ball saver on at the beginning of your ball, you can make progress towards your out lanes. So if I drain on purpose down Toto, that stays lit if I drain again down the right out lane, and then I have another chance for it.
So how would you go about intentionally draining down one of the out lanes?
Bowen, why don't you show us?
You want me to intentionally drain down? Oh, no hold flippers! I will definitely drain during this time. During this. So we got double scoring and no flipper holds. So it's basically just flail away, flail away. Oh, Crystal Ball is lit. Not Crystal Ball. I keep calling it that. Emerald City Multi-Ball is ready. But there's Toto. That's how you drain down the out lane. That's what you want to see, right?
It doesn't give you credit during the multi-ball, unfortunately.
Consarn it.
There was qualifications there, apparently.
You didn't tell me about any of these things. I drained during the Wicked Witch round, and you didn't say that I wasn't allowed to. Now you say that I can't drain. Well, which is it?
I'm going to recommend you don't drain as much as possible.
Oh, don't drain as much as possible. Okay. What about this ball? Should I shoot ball? I was trying to actually deliberately drain.
Tim, can you finish that up a little bit? Is there actually a strategic way to drain down?
Yes.
Drain.
How would you go about that?
So what I do on the machine I play out on location is I plunge the ball and I hold the upper right flipper on that main playfield up, and the ball will go nicely down to the left out lane and make my state fair balloon things light up. Right? Just like that.
Okay.
Bowen perfectly demonstrates how
Yeah,
to do
except there's no ball save on this game. So nice job. Thanks a lot.
Right.
I was unable to even beat Ed. The 700,000 is what I was chasing there. You get stuck with 600,000 demonstrating your out lane.
Well, Bowen, thank you. I think we're going to jump over to Addams family next. Is that right, John? Is that the game we're heading to?
No, actually, we're going to go to Faces
Going to
next.
Faces and then Addams family.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to save save the best for last. I know there are people who, and actually, let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about Farsight. Recently, there was a Kickstarter where Farsight Studios was looking to raise $100,000 in order to get the license to put a digital copy out of the Addams Family. So later this evening, we're going to actually show you the Addams Family pinball machine, the real pinball machine, not to imply, oh gosh, I'm going down a dark path there, aren't I? Somebody save me. But, yeah, so we're going to move over to do some faces.
All right, Faces it is. Let's fire
it's
it up.
interesting here with these Kickstarters that they're pretty much all they spend that money on is the licenses to get the games.
Right.
Star Trek Next Generation and what was the other one they finished off earlier? Terminator.
I mean, those are great games. Next Generation is a very difficult game to, I don't know, get through all the same. It's sort of like Wizard of Oz. Actually, Bowen, why don't we see if we can get a couple people playing? I want to get Joe Saeed in. Joe's in from out of town. Got Brian Tessier, one of our regulars.
We got a camera on 2 score reels, so let's fire it up for 2 players.
Okay. 2 players it is. It's in.
So we're looking at Faces, made by Sonic in 1976. This is a Far Cry from Wizard of Oz, but even this is still a fairly complicated EM, I would say. It's got double bonus if you hit both the A target and the B target, which are in the center of the playfield. I think those targets also build up your bonus, and the B, which is the red stand-up, will build up your red bonus. The A, which is the green target, will build up your green bonus, and you'll see it right above the flippers. There's one lit arrow that just switched from red to green. And whenever you drain, you get whichever bonus is lit. And another way to switch that is the yellow stand-up, which is about in the middle of the playfield on the far right side. And so if you're playing this game and you have one of those bonuses maxed out and the other one's sitting at 0, you want to make sure that the one that's maxed out is the one that's lit. So there's definitely times whenever you would take a shot at that yellow target on the right side to ensure that the bonus you want lit is lit.
Let me ask you this, Mark. So what happens to the bonus on the other side? Do you just lose that?
It evaporates into the ether.
Evaporation.
That's good ether.
And also on this game, kind of note, I would say, is there's a spinner. There's spinners on either side, on the left side and the right side. Whenever the green bonus is maxed out, the left spinner is lit. Whenever the red bonus is maxed out, the right spinner is lit. And whenever they're lit, they are worth 1,000 a spin. It's nice, it's convenient, but I think more than anything, people are just maxing the bonus to get the bonus rather than to light the spinner. It's just sort of a cherry on top. And also there's a gate at the very top. You can just see it just open so that shots to the right orbit will now go the whole way around. And that gate is basically lit by everything.
So I'd also like to take a second to welcome Daisy Diesel, Angela Dropka, to the microphone. Angela, it's good to have you on tonight.
Good to be back. Good to be back. Hello, everyone in the chat.
Are you a fan of faces, Angela?
I like faces.
Why?
Because of the artwork, of course. It's crazy. It's like some Foxy Cleopatra meets Picasso, and you have Richard Simmons on the spinners, so
Wow.
it's something for everyone.
I still can't figure out why it's called Faces.
Well, the upper playfield kind of looks like a face. Oh, it sort of does.
Yeah, oh, actually, yeah. Okay, now I see it. Yeah, I can't believe I never saw that before. What's the upper left flipper? Is that
I don't know,
It's
a little
tiny mutant
hair lip?
Oh, it looks like a little arm, kind of.
Folks, I just want to point out that
It's exactly tied. What ball is this? We can't see.
that's after ball 3. It's an exact tie score of 109,000.
Oh my goodness!
We planned that, and
What's gonna happen?
Bowen, is there a reason you're plunging everyone's ball?
I'm testing whether or not it's a player who plunges into the center every time can win.
I'm sorry. What? What are you doing?
I'm just messing with Joe mostly.
Oh, okay. So, what are the awards actually up top? I can't read them from here, and I don't have them memorized. Bowen, what do people get by plunging?
You can win advance red bonus, select green bonus, advance green and red. That's the yellow in the middle. Select red bonus or advance green bonus.
So crap, basically. There's nothing up there really of note.
Yeah, and now he picked up the AB there. Did you talk about that?
Yeah, the AB lights the double bonus, and you can tell it's lit by the insert that's lit solidly right above the flippers at this point. Bowen, whenever you go from a game like Wizard of Oz in a tournament setting to a game like Faces, how do you change mentally? What do you do, if anything?
Well, I guess you have a really short memory ideally, but you have to just know that the style and substance of how you're going to play pinball is totally different. The speed of the game, especially, is very different. And people who played the Farsight games can know this from playing Big Shot, I think. The EM that's available in the Farsight collection. That the way that game plays physically is different from the way Terminator would play. And if you approach those two games the same way, you're going to fall flat. You have to have a lot more patience, and also the physical movements of nudging the game have a much greater impact on a game like this than on modern machines.
Would you say that modern machines are more skillful?
I don't know.
All right.
I would say that they are differently skillful, and depending on who you talk to, it's an interesting debate because there are skills If you talked to me 10 years ago, I would have said that this game, that Faces and all electromechanical games for that matter, were BS, and that they weren't really true tests of pinball skill.
What changed your mind?
What changed my mind is playing them more and more and realizing, there is more to it than just mucking around and watching the ball go down the side. You can use, and especially it's using your hands to control the machine physically, while the ball is even all the way at the top. Like I wanted to go in that middle. I can bounce it around and try to make it happen. There, I want to get it to avoid that side. And you're able to do these things because of the control of the game. This is something that, having grown up on games like High Speed or Addams Family, you never had to do these things on Addams Family. You just shoot and recollect the ball. So it's a totally different skill set, and I think it's a skill set that players who grew up on games from the 60s and 70s know really well, just simply because that's what you had to do.
So I've heard people say on Stern's new game Mustang that the flippers are lower than normal. They're angled down a little bit more than normal, and I guess players have gotten comfortable with the traditional flipper arrangement of modern games. But if you're playing older games, EMs, there's different size flipper bats. I mean, if you're playing a game like Atari's Middle Earth, they're not even mirroring one another. They're actually offset.
Mark, that's not a fair comparison. It's Middle Earth.
Well, you know what I mean, though. There's a difference between these flippers and, say,
absolutely.
Like zipper flippers on a game like Gator or a game like Nip It. Bowen, how would you say how would you say you've gone about adapting your play to the different style of flippers?
Oh man, it's like playing a whole different game, and certain skills transfer over. Like your reaction time and getting a flipper in the way. But for example, if you're playing an early 70s Williams machine, trying to do a live catch like you would on a modern machine is actually death, because the flipper doesn't have the same kind of hold that it does, and it won't hold the ball. So you have to just know, like, this is something I can or can't do on this game, and be ready to change your mind. Like there, I blew it because I could have saved that ball, and I just wasn't anticipating.
Bowen, for some of the novice players out there who may just be tuning in, why don't you talk about nudging a little bit, since that seems to be a big part of Faces, along with just general frustration. But how does nudging come into play in pinball? Is it legal? Because some people have asked me in the past, like, can I bang on a machine? Can I move it?
I thought for years that it was not legal. I thought for years that nudging was something you did because you were angry at the machine, and it was frankly only really about the people that I had met and played pinball with that I felt that way. It is a critical aspect of succeeding in pinball play.
I've had people ask me if nudging was cheating before.
Yeah, well, and because the game has the tilt mechanism built into it to try and detect that you're cheating effectively. But it is absolutely part of the game, and if you're not nudging, you're not going to succeed compared to someone who is. Long term, you might get away with it a little bit, but you're not going to win.
So I noticed that a moment ago you didn't flip the upper flipper. Is it advantageous sometimes to do that?
Yes, because you're trying. Well, I screwed it up, but using an upper flipper like that promotes the ball moving side to side, and on games like this, and all games really, side to side motion is death.
Hey, Mark, if I could just mention something quickly about nudging as a novice player,
we're hearing from Elizabeth. She's one of the managers down here at Papa, back in the booth.
So as a novice player, I for the longest time thought these machines were far more delicate than they really are, and to see some of these players, especially in the A division, the way that they shake the machine, the way that they move the machine, I think that Josh Sharp's massive movement of Congo at Louisville last year has become an internet meme. As a novice player, that's something that we just don't understand.
You're almost scared someone's going to yell at you if you move it a little bit.
Absolutely.
No, they're 300-pound boxes that are made to be moved. I mean, just ask one of our techs, Justin Brooks, who was moving a game on a dolly last winter, and he just didn't even have the legs on and threw it on the ground. Just, it was totally fine. John moves games. Sometimes they fall out of the back of his truck. It's all fine. It's not a big deal. You can move a game.
That's not true at all. I have never dropped a machine out of the back of my truck.
No.
And never sold it to Pop after. Wait.
The games are. Bowen mentioned the tilt mech. The game will tell you whenever you move it too much. You want to play within the tilt, but at the same time, if you're not tilting occasionally, then you're not moving the game enough.
I mean, it's a physical game. This is not just pressing the button. This is actually you're interacting with this machine in a lot more ways than just pressing the button.
Is there anything else we want to talk about with regard to faces? Any strategies that we didn't really... Well, I guess we didn't really... We talked about the rules, but not the strategies per se. Bowen, why don't you give us a quick rundown of what you would actually do walking up to play this game?
So the goal on this game is a very high bonus game. Bonus matters more than almost anything else. And the two shots that are of greatest impact to your score, believe it or not, are the little green and red targets that are directly above the yellow bumpers in the back of the game. They advance the green and red bonuses, and so effectively those targets are worth 10,000 per hit to the targets. So they look innocent, but they're huge. So anything you can do to get the ball to hit those targets. And you talked about the nudging and the physicality of it. You don't have flippers up there, but you do have your hands. So if it's going to hit those bumpers or it's coming off an angle, you use your hands and try to bounce that ball that's coming right there into the bumper, into the targets. Josh Sharp likes to say that your flipper, every piece of rubber on the game is a flipper for you, basically, on these games.
So one of the things we didn't talk about rules-wise was getting the pop bumpers lit, and you can see they just lit up for Brian. And the first time you spell faces with the rollovers in the middle of the play field down between the slingshots, it will light up the little alley on the right side, which I think opens the gate, if I'm not mistaken, and gives you 5,000 points. And then it also lights the pop bumpers. Bowen, would you ever intentionally shoot for one of those rollovers to spell face?
No, and a lot of the games in the 70s had these features where there were spell-outs and completions, and the larger number of spell-outs and completions would give you extra balls or specials. And in tournament competition play, the specials are meaningless because you're not playing for free games, and the extra balls are usually shut off or there's a requirement for you not to play them. So most of those spell-outs disappear from the relevance of the game because you're only going for score. If you're playing in an arcade in the 70s, those spell-outs would actually probably be more important than the score because they give you the opportunity to advance features. That's his third completion, I think.
Yeah,
so
without
got all sorts of stuff going now.
Without being able to read the scorecard from here, I believe the first time you spell faces, it lights the pop bumpers in that alley. The second time, I believe, it lights extra ball, but it alternates. And then the third time, I believe, it lights it permanently.
There was a question in the chat. What do the roller...
he kicked ass in that ball, but look, most of the points he's getting are coming from the bonus and not from the actual run of the rest of the play.
What was the question, John?
No, the question actually I think we just covered, but what do the rollers and the inlanes do?
I'm not sure about the inlanes, actually.
The only thing the inlanes can award you is extra ball when lit. In certain games in this era, like Mars Trek, the inlanes would also award you double bonus. There weren't too many variations on this. In this game, it's A-B. But right in this game, I think the left inlane, both inlanes also open the gate. But that doesn't actually end up being all that important. It's those targets.
Did I hear you correctly that after you spell faces for, I think it's the third time, or the second or third time, lights extra ball on the in lanes? For some reason I thought it was the out lanes, but I guess I'm wrong.
It's the in lanes.
Okay.
That was a screwed up shot there. So overall strategy on this game, what I should have done is get the ball to the right, because shooting from the left flipper is dangerous on this game. There's not much to do. It's much easier to make shots from the right. And so if you can figure out a way to transfer the ball from one side to another, like an alley pass or a tap pass, that becomes very valuable on an older game like this. And in classics play, frequently if you have to play a game like 4, 5, 6 times, you start to figure those things out during your plays, and that's why you see scores sometimes going through the roof on these games in finals play. What was that? There were some huge scores in classics this year, Papa. I'm trying to remember some, but there was like a 300,000 on a air show, three times rolled
That's
over.
absolutely insane.
Stuff like that was happening a lot because you get players who were learning the angles and learning what flipper skills were especially beneficial on games. The variety of flipper skills that are useful on different games is really fun and interesting to me on the Addams. I think it's one of the biggest draws of those games to me.
So I think we're looking at player 3 here, ball 5. After this ball heads down, we're going to jump over to Addams family and talk a little bit more about that game.
While we're making that transition, Mark, I want to do a question and answer session with Elizabeth here.
All right.
Elizabeth, let me start this, and I'll do it in my deep voice. Elizabeth Cromwell, why don't you state your full name?
I'm a Gemini, John.
You're a Gemini?
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to ask that, but I know. Go ahead.
What, state my whole name?
State your name.
Elizabeth Cromwell.
It's going well so far.
I'm doing really well here.
It's a long name.
How did you come to be involved with Papa?
I used to work for Kevin Martin at his internet company, and I started helping him with tournaments back then. He used to have a storage facility on the south side, and we ran a tournament out of the Best Western here in just up the street in Green Tree. And we would go and get machines out and pray to God they worked when we turned them on. Set them up, run the tournament, blew out the air conditioning at least 1 year. And then he decided to build this thing, and I've been on board with him there. And
Elizabeth, what were those tournaments like compared to the ones that we're running now?
There's really so I've had to be reminded that I'm completely spoiled at Papa. So when you go to a tournament anywhere else, it's not a dedicated facility. It's what we used to do at the Best Western. You truck a bunch of machines in, you get them in the best condition that you possibly can, in the shortest amount of time you possibly can, and you run a tournament. And if a machine dies, it just dies. You don't have a backup. You don't have a pull. You can't accommodate the number of people that we accommodate at Papa. So it's kind of a culture shock to go from managing here to visiting any other pinball tournament.
For anyone who hasn't heard, at the Replay FX Arcade and Gaming Festival, we're going to be holding Pinburg, which is, Bowen, is this our 5th year?
This will be the 5th year for Pinburg, and it's grown from 170 players the first year, which was already huge. This year it will be capped at 700 players, and we expect it to sell out in short order.
What's the prize pool on that?
$100,000 cash, with $20,000 to first place. The largest pinball prize ever.
So, getting back to a couple more questions. What is your favorite game in pinball, Elizabeth?
I think most people already know this, but my favorite game is Derby Day. My favorite game is Derby Day, and it is Derby Day because it's completely unique. You don't see it most places, and it. I know it's a pitch and bat game, and the pitch here is even a little off, so you have to know that it's not aiming exactly where that little red thing tells you it is. But to me, it's more fun to just race the horses in the back box than it is to actually score any sort of points. I love the fact that it has tiny little flippers and it has huge open spaces and lanes, so it's not an easy game.
What's your least favorite game?
Well, like I said outside earlier, it was that Simpsons pinball party that's back in the corner here.
Okay.
Can I chime in on this, Elizabeth? Because I think I know what your least favorite game is.
Okay, yes,
It's
please.
anything with horrible sound effects that's over by your booth during a tournament.
Oh, good God. Yes, I will leave a tournament here at Papa, be it Papa or Pinburg, whatever you have decided to torture me with by putting it as close to the front desk as possible. I have gone home with nightmares of Rudy from Funhouse in my head, cackling. I will wake up in the middle of the night for a solid 5 days after a tournament.
So
when AC/DC first released and you felt best place to put that was right up at the front desk.
It was 5 feet away from your booth for 4 straight days.
I freaking hate AC/DC.
You're not an AC/DC fan?
I hate the band. I hate the machine. I hate whoever decided to do that as a theme for a pinball machine.
One of the all-time greats.
I have one question, a final question for you, and I think this is a good one. I know that being responsible for running some of the largest pinball tournaments in the world can be really frustrating at times, especially when you're in a moment. What keeps you doing this?
You know, I wish I had a really good answer for that. I don't. At times it's so frustrating that I want to pull my hair out, and at other times it's the greatest thing in the world to be running this, to be a part of this, to be anywhere close to this.
Well, let me leave you with the last word then. Anything else you'd like to say to our audience tonight?
I would encourage everyone to show up for Replay FX, and if you have the time and you have the desire, come volunteer for us, and we'll make it worth your while. It's going to be the greatest arcade in the universe.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Bowen, we're watching you play Addams Family from Bally in 1992. This is one of the best all-time, or one of the highest all-time. How should I put this? More sales on this game than is it anything else?
Yeah, that's right. 22,000 games. I just want to add to comments Elizabeth made about just how much work she does that is unsung, and just how much her work is appreciated and is a necessary part of making these events work.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I definitely second that. So what exactly is going on right here?
All right, so Addams Family is a game with two kinds of main goals. The first of the main goals is what I've been going for in this game, which is the multi-balls. And to get multi-ball, you spell out greed on the blue bookcase on the right side, and then it slides open, and it's open now for a lock behind it. You can get the ball from right to left by post-transferring, and then you try to plug it into that lock. And then after 2 locks, it will light the multi-ball. I'm on the second level of the multi-ball, actually, having done the first one. So the first layered multi-ball, first time around, you can actually go through and get these by shooting the thing shot instead.
So we're joined on the microphone here by Joe Saeed. Joe, you traveled quite a long ways to be with us tonight. How was the trip?
Well, just Maryland.
Well, that's a long ways.
It was okay. During the day, we got in before rush hour. Ate some Reyes pizza.
Joe, do you have any time on Addams Family? Are you familiar with this game?
Yeah, very familiar with this guy.
Is this one you like to see in a tournament?
It depends on how easy it is. If it's really nice out of the kickouts, the games can go really long. But I think you guys have one here that is not really nice. I played that in Pinbird once, and it was like control was very difficult. I liked that a lot, but I would have liked to know that it was that hard to begin with, rather than transferring the thing shot down to the left flipper nicely. I should have just shot for it rather than making it go down the middle. Yeah, I like to see it.
Joe, what would you say is a basic strategy for you on this game?
I always end up avoiding multi-ball. I kind of think that's just going to end up happening, and I pretty much go for mansion rooms over and over. Try to be really careful when I finally get the seance to get that 30 million.
Bowen, do you want to talk us through this multi-ball here?
Sure. So the multi-ball starts and cashed in a jackpot off the side ramp, and then the relight is the same bookcase shot that was the lock a moment ago. The game is actually really good about telling you what to do, both in the lights on the game and in the display. The display right now is saying, like, hit vault to light super jackpot, and there's a big red light on that thing. So I'm like, maybe I should shoot that, or I should mess up and go back to regular play.
So,
sorry about that.
Mark, there's a question in the chat room. It says, do you guys have any affiliations with any pinball organizations elsewhere in the world? And what are your thoughts on expanding or having international tournaments in the not-too-distant future?
Well, we're not directly related with any other pinball organization, but we do work closely with several.
I'd say we know most of them, right?
Yeah, or at least I hope we do. I mean, I don't know what I don't know. Yeah, we definitely do whatever we can to work alongside people or help people. I mean, we currently run the Papa Circuit, which is a series of events around the United States, and some of those events were set up long before us and are run by people who are fully capable, and we just kind of go along for the ride. But then in other instances, we'll go to areas which have never had a pinball event, and we'll offer advice and set something up, or sometimes even just outright run it. And that's kind of an outreach effort. One thing that we've talked about was trying to expand this overseas. There's been talk of asking the European Pinball Championships if they would like to be a circuit in an upcoming season, and that would be an example of a tournament where we really wouldn't have to give them any advice because that tournament's been around for a long time. We would essentially just welcome them onto the circuit and give them circuit points and whatnot. But it's not something that we've taken official steps to do. We still need to reach out to the right people and talk to them about it.
We could broadcast from overseas, Mark. That would be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be pretty high travel expenses, John.
That'd be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of what we do is a lot of fun, but not free.
Yeah, that's very true.
How much does it cost to ship an HDMI cable to Europe?
Joe, why don't you tell me a little bit about Austin, who is actually playing the game now? Tell me everything you know about Austin, all the intimate details.
Let's stick with the gaming.
Okay, let's stick with. Tell me about Austin, though, just so we know a little bit about him.
Okay, I put on the spot there. Austin's from my area down in Virginia. He just actually hosted his annual tournament, last Saturday, which I didn't win. And he has never been to Papa. So this is his first time here.
So
It's an interesting first experience whenever there's really not many other people here. Usually whenever the doors open, it's just, it's bustling.
Yeah, right now it's just a couple people sitting around watching some pinball.
Every year I ask him, are you going to Pinburg? Are you going to Papa? And he's like, no, I have to work. Stop asking me. But this opportunity presented itself, so that was pretty awesome for him to check it out.
So whenever I was speaking with him a little bit earlier, he was talking about some gaming podcasts that he does. It seems like he's been involved in video games and pinball for a little while now.
He has an amazing collection of I'm not sure which systems, but he might have every like Sega CD game, or I don't know all the systems, but he has a Vectrex in his house, and he does a podcast. He's associated with a group part of Implant Games. He also does a lot of Let's Play videos. Probably like once every other week he puts out a Let's Play, and that's when he's kind of not producing a lot of content.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of his channel? Do you know? Let's see.
Implant Games.
We'll have to Austin.
Yeah,
ask Austin.
Bowen's asking him, I think.
Okay.
Bowen, did he tell you what the name of his podcast was?
AKM Pinball.
AKM Pinball?
No, we'll have to check that out.
And what about the Let's Play?
Let's Play is just the first and last name,
Austin Mackert. And Mackert is spelled M-A-C-K-E-R-T.
Okay, cool.
Bowen, do you have any nerves when you're playing against Austin? I know he's pretty scary looking.
He can beat me down if he wants to, probably.
Bowen, that's actually a real good line of questioning. Bowen, you've played in some pretty intense finals over the years. What's your situation with pinball? When did you get started? Did you used to have nerves, and did you get over them?
I got started. My father took me around to arcades. The earliest memory I have of playing pinball was about age 6 or 7, and I really started playing hard around 12. When I got to college, I found out about competition through Steve Epstein and the Fall Flip-Offs, which was a tournament run out in the San Francisco Bay Area before Papa 4, and the champion of the tournament would win a free trip to Papa 4. I was like, well, I'd love to get involved. I didn't think I was good enough at all to win that tournament, but I thought I would have a chance to compete well. And it was a tournament with a regional final and then a grand final in San Francisco. And at the regional final, I was playing on fishtails, and I remember my hands were just shaking like crazy. and it was ridiculous. I couldn't play. I sucked. I was lucky. I won on Fishtails with like 15 million or something. It was insanely poor score, but the other player just got bad luck and I won. And I'm just like, look, I am having no fun doing this. I'm shaking like crazy, and I realize, you know what? I need to enjoy myself. I'm not enjoying myself. What the hell am I doing?
So that's your key to staying calm.
Absolutely. Like that shot there, that was a 20 million shot. While talking to you. So boom.
Nice shot, Bowen.
Thank you.
So how did things change for you? Was it just sitting down saying I'm not having fun?
I just said, look, you know what? Screw this nerves. And I started doing stupid stuff like that. But I would like get after the game, I'd jump around or dance or just do whatever I could to distract myself from the competition and just really try to have fun. And that really worked out well for me. I lost my first tournament in San Francisco to Hal Erickson on Gladiators. Well, that was a fun match on Gladiators where we discovered the
cheesing the L.
repeatable L shot.
Oh gosh.
The L from hell.
So Bowen, for the next game, I'm going to ask you to, talk through it tutorial-wise. But in the meantime, I seem to remember an amusing story from your PAPA-5 during the final rounds, or at least I think it was PAPA-5, where you had thought you were knocked out of the tournament.
Yeah, this was actually at PAPA-4. So
Okay.
I went to PAPA-4 anyway, having finished third in San Francisco, using my $75 prize money to fund the trip to New York. And I was like, well, maybe I can qualify A Division. It would be pretty great if I could. Made it and didn't do well in the first round of finals, and I just assumed I'd been eliminated. I got a first place on Star Trek Next Gen, and then a third and a last in the other two games in the round. So basically walked out of the tournament and changed into fancy pants clothes because they were having like a dance party or some charity reception at the same time as they were running the tournament.
Were you wearing your Zubaz?
He had his boogie shoes on.
I don't remember what I was wearing before that, but I changed into like khakis, nice shirt, just basically the nicest clothes an 18-year-old has when they're a sophomore in college, which isn't that nice, but for me, I thought I was all dressed up. I come downstairs and they say they've been trying to call me for the last 5 minutes to play, and I'm like, I'm out. What the hell are you talking about? There was like a 5-way tie break for the last place, and back then Papa didn't do game tiebreakers. They just took the total score across all the games, and by miracle I had won my game on Star Trek Next Gen, which had way more points than the other machines, and so I advanced. I got the very last spot in the semifinals. And one thing that happens to players in those situations is your nerves just go away completely. You could have been nervous before, and you're just like,
well, you already
all right,
lost.
I lost.
What's there to be nervous
lost,
about?
And now I'm resurrected. And
House money.
You're right. At that point, you're like, I just won an extra $100, and I get to play again. Sweet. Ended up crushing the semifinals, and then I ended up winning the world championship.
And that was your first Papa World title.
At the dumb luck of surviving a tiebreak. Like, there are 10 different things that could have happened that would have stopped that tiebreak from occurring, but it pushed me on.
Did you were you wearing a miner's helmet at the time?
I was not. I didn't think of that. But that is a story for another time, perhaps.
So, Joe, while we have you on the microphone, I mean, is there anything you'd like to say special about?
Tell us about your charity, Joe.
Yeah, that's a great subject. Good idea.
Okay, that is I can handle that. So I started working with Project Pinball over the summer to try to help get the word out and help directing there. And the charity that I've been working on is kind of a new facet to that. It's not working directly with children's hospitals, but it's working with families and children that have disabilities, be it autism or Down syndrome. That's kind of our focus. And just giving a place for families to come and play games and seeing if there's, a kind of a synergy. with the children, where I think some would really react well to that environment, and some it might be just not their thing. And then kind of going from there, it's mostly data collection, and seeing where it goes from maybe an academic standpoint.
Do you have a website that people could actually get some more information on that?
I'm still developing the website. We've kind of coined it as Pinball EDU.
Okay.
It's been a number of names, but Pinball Educational Center is kind of what we're going with. But then the Pinball EDU thing was that. Yeah.
Once you hit the ground running, you're going to have to come back up here and tell us more about it.
Yeah.
Give us a little update on it.
Hopefully you'll have some video and have a little bit more about how it has affected the kids, and it's really for adults too. It's just an introduction to a great game that has affected my life, and I've seen be profound for a number of other people. I kind of just want to spread that to an underserved population.
Well, I'd like to say on behalf of the pinball community, thank you, and thank you to all those who are running pinball-related charities right now. There's quite a few out there, and they're doing great things.
All doing great things. All right, Bowen. Looks like it's ball 2 over here. Looks like you have, 4 mansion rooms down, and you got your 9 million lit. How many, what do you have there? Extra ball up the center and locks lit? Why don't you talk us through a couple balls here, and, let's learn about Addams Family.
Okay. So as I was saying, the other major strategy besides playing for multi-balls is playing the mansion, and that's what Austin's been doing as well as I in this game. Each mansion room gives you an award. The next thing is like a quick multi-ball. You don't want to ignore locks, but just to show you what it looks like to start a mode, you shoot the ramp to light a mode or trip an in-lane switch for a few seconds. It'll give you a chance to hit the next mode that way too. So center ramp, and this thing flips is just a great feature when it works. Boy, some great technology in that.
Thing flipped you off that time.
How does thing normally work?
Austin.
How does it normally work?
Normally, thing flips.
Nice shot there.
That was awesome too.
All skill.
Backdoor thing multi-ball. The thing flips will learn based on how the player is playing the timing on that flip, and then when you shoot it through the left inlane under thing flips, it will flip for you automatically with no player control. And thing flips tends to do a better job of shooting that shot than the players do. Oh, good multi-ball there. Quick multi-ball, as it were.
That was a very quick multi-ball. Angela, you said you had some, and welcome back to the microphone. You said you had some trivia on Addams Family. Why don't you share that with us?
I had a trivia question for the chat room. Did you guys talk about why there were gold edition Addams Families made?
Leftover parts? Maybe a big can of gold paint just spilled into the factory?
Willy Wonka took it over?
Willy Wonka?
What?
Yeah.
No, what happened?
Did someone find Curly's gold?
Well, I didn't know this myself. When I've come across gold editions, I'm like, okay, what's a gold edition? Why did they do that? And I guess, we all know this is a Pat Lawler game. And this was one of the top-selling flipper games of all time. So they wanted to commemorate that by having a gold cabinet. But I think the problem there was they had gold cabinets and blue back boxes, or there were a lot of mismatch games until 1994 when they actually did the gold edition, which I thought was interesting. But my trivia question for the chat room is, what is the number on that record-selling game? Does anyone know what number game that was?
I know that.
An extra credit, who owns that game currently?
Not me.
Oh, okay. I see that you're asking who bought the game that broke the record.
That's the extra credit. The trivia question is, what number game? Does anyone in the chat room know what number game that record-selling game is?
Oh, so you're saying not how many Addams Families were produced. You're saying...
No, the number that actually was the record.
Ooh, I don't know that answer.
I'm going to take a guess.
Well, why don't you wait on that, Mark? Because our chat room's trying to.
I'm gonna wait and read what the chat room says, and then pick what I think is the best answer.
You would, wouldn't you? For the record,
You are disqualified, sir.
Congratulations, Austin. You have just defeated the world champion, the multiple-time world champion.
Or did he?
Well, while we're waiting on the chat room, Bowen, keep on talking about Addams Family. We still haven't really gone through, fleshed out the rules on this one.
Yeah. So each of these lights gives you a round called a mode. Like this one is called Quick Multi-Ball, which is a 2-ball multi-ball. But each of these different rounds does a different thing. Some of them are just points. One of them is light extra ball, Mamushka, hit cousin hit, seance, festers, tunnel hunt, raise a dead and thing. All give you different items. In this mode, the vault is lit for 5 million a shot, and then it'd be worth 6 million if you get it for 5, and it just keeps piling up until 10, I believe, is the maximum. One of the nice things about this kind of game, and this became a very popular style of game, a mode-based game, is that the play just kind of changes as you go. And this round is raise the dead. It lights all the bumpers, hit each bumper 4 times for 3 million. Again, the display and the effects, the lights, the sound, the dot matrix, it all contributes to telling the player what to do. And in my case, it drained down the outlane anyway, but your goal is also to get all of the mansion rooms together, and then you light the question mark.
Well, what's the question mark? Don't leave me hanging.
I don't know, it's a question mark. It's a question mark.
Oh, we got to get there and find out.
All right, we'll try to get to the question mark. There are some other things to do, like that side ramp and a side flipper shot.
Nice.
In competition play, the side flipper shot is often not taken by players, and you can see why just now. If you take that shot, you're putting side-to-side motion on the game, and I mentioned that on faces as well. Side-to-side motion is the easiest way for a ball to drain. So if the player lets the ball just roll past that flipper or holds the flipper up to let the ball go out, then that can often be an easier play.
Yeah, but sometimes, Bowen, side-to-side shots, like shots from those upper flippers, are some of the most important in a lot of games.
You're absolutely right, which is pretty damn smart of them to have designed it that way.
So, in other words, risk-reward.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And, they're trying to get you to lose. They want this. They want your ball to be over in an average of 60 seconds, I think. So if you can take a side flipper shot, pot shot, blow it down the outlane, and you don't feel like you got screwed by the game in those situations because you shot the shot.
So if they want your ball, to drain within 60 seconds, why in the hell are there games with such complicated roll sets?
It speaks to the level of skill that pinball players can have over time. That there's enough to do on this game that, like, I see that question mark. I'm like, what is that question mark?
So it's almost like the designers are building the game for multiple types of players?
You're absolutely right. There needs to be something very clear for a beginner to do, someone who's never played before, to have fun with. In this case, it's the electric chair right in the middle. If you hit that electric chair, something good happens. There needs to be goals for the medium players.
Oh, nice save. Get the extra ball. Get paid.
All right. That was same style of save as the one from
Shout out to Steve Bowden.
PAPA13. That Steve Bowden has video of on Fun with Bonus.
Funwithbonus.com.
This time, that time it didn't pay out either. I still lost. It's like Franco Harris with the Immaculate Reception. Nobody remembers they lost the next week and didn't even make it to the Super Bowl. But
hey, wait a second.
But he's still like in the airport right next to George Washington. Like, what is that about? I mean, wouldn't you want to celebrate the teams that actually won the Super Bowls instead of the
Actually, it's hilarious because the Pittsburgh airport has Franco Harris, George Washington, and then also Tyrannosaurus Rex. So there's, 3 things that are very important to this area here.
Oh, yeah, the T-Rex.
All represented.
I think Bowen has gotten disqualified for the second time in a single game.
No, the second one actually requalifies him. He's back in the tournament.
Oh, sorry, Austin. The second one disqualified you.
It's a double negative. It's the dreaded triple negative.
So, Angela.
2 wrongs do make a right.
What?
You can pay us each $20 and get back in.
Yeah.
Now, are those Monopoly dollars or real dollars?
We'll talk to you about the Monopoly dollars later. Angela, before he gets the question mark, what was the answer on that trivia question?
It was 20,232. So you guys were pretty close on that, and that was the game that They all took their picture of in front of. It was on the cover of Replay, and every worker on the line that day signed the inside.
That's awesome. And who owns that game?
I think it currently is owned by Gene Cunningham.
Nice. Well, good on you, Gene. Well done. Keep that little piece of history safe.
No one got the answer right. John was going to give away his Spider-Man game to the winner.
I wasn't aware of that. And for the record, in case somebody did get the answer to that, no, I wasn't.
All right, Bowen. Question mark. Make it happen, man.
Why should we? I mean, don't we want people to support the Farsight Kickstarter and
Do it.
get this out there so that they can actually find out what the question mark does
Do
on their
it.
own?
We want answers. We're pinball players.
It's
We
just
can't have any questions.
It's just a question mark. I mean, what could it be? You know?
It would be way less exciting if it was a period.
That's true.
How about an exclamation point?
Well, I mean, that'd be
that'd
way
pretty
more
cool.
exciting.
Oh, drain. Oh well. No, just kidding.
The first time I saw this happen, it just blew my brains out.
Actually, the light show and the sound effects on this are great, but the one that really did it to me was the Whitewater Vacation Jackpot, where the game acts like it's resetting, and then it goes through all the different video displays.
I think it was 10 years into the game before I ever got a vacation jackpot mark. Just for the
Yeah, there's actually what's the other game that does that? Scared Stiff. Whenever you complete the Stiffometer, it goes through like the game goes crazy.
the monster.
Oh, you're
ball.
disqualified again.
Ah, it's triple negative. And that I had 2 warnings there. So
Bone, what do you do in whenever you're touring the mansion? What's the goal here? How do you score points?
okay, so it's going to continually give you countdown timers on the different modes that are in play, starting from the bottom right, moving up. So it runs Mamushka, then it runs Cousin It's, Seance, etc.
And is there a benefit to just cradling up and only playing the lucrative modes?
Probably, but that's no fun.
What would you do that in a tournament setting?
Yes, I would wait till Seance.
What modes would you play?
I would wait till Seance, and then I would play. I wouldn't play Raise the Dead, but I would play Seance, Tunnel Hunt, and then the last one, which is Thing.
And what happens when you get to the end?
You get.
You get another question mark?
Another question mark. No, you get nothing. Actually, it shuts down the mansion altogether for the rest of your ball, so that you can no longer earn those points.
And then it becomes multi-ball town?
And then you take the one-way train down to multi-ball town. Actually, by that point, also you start working on graveyard. You start working on the side ramp, which is the side ramp is actually an overlooked source of points on Addams. It's that side flipper shot there, and it can be worth up to 10 million a shot. Nah, bad play there. I should have bounced that differently.
Austin, you're on the microphone now. Welcome to the microphone. How did you feel about playing Bowen?
It was great.
He had a good game too. He had 140.
I had some pretty bad drains, mostly my fault. So,
Austin, I don't know if you noticed, but he did another death save. So wait, is he
That puts me back
disqualified
in the running
now?
now.
or
He's
is-
disqualified now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah.
in triple
I mean,
negative.
so
I'm in
you-
triple negative at this point.
Just so you know, he can still salvage himself if he can pull off a fourth one. I wanted to give you a second to do a plug for your podcast, so go ahead and give us a plug for that.
I run the Implant Games podcast. Not exactly pinball related, but we do mostly retro video games and things like that. You can check that out at implantgames.com. And yeah, I've been doing that for a couple years now. So
What keeps you doing it?
probably my co-host. He's cool to talk with, and we kind of see things on the same level, and it's just fun.
It's fun to do a show when you share similar states of mind with the people you work with doing it.
I
so.
hate you, John.
I hate you too, Mark.
Austin, have you ever played
So the
Sega
skills
Wardener?
Wardner, no, actually, I know what it is, but I haven't played it yet.
All right. Well,
So.
we'll have to drink a few ones whenever we're playing that.
Well, on behalf of all of us here at PAPAtv.
Got kill screen over here. Kill screen.
Okay. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in tonight. It's been a great time. Bowen, do you have any final words for us?
Yeah, you talked about the choreography on this game, and I think that's an overlooked feature of games and how difficult it is to make the player to give the player those impressions where they're like, yeah, I'm a badass. I just did something amazing. Even to start multi-ball in this game, the first time I ever started multi-ball in Addams, I was scared shitless. I was like, did I break it? What the hell is going on here? And the fact that a display and light show can do that to you, it just is one of the big reasons that keeps drawing me back to pinball after 30 years of playing it now. So I thank Pat Lawler, Larry DeMar, all of the people who made the sound and artwork package here. Just everything in these games that produces it. This is another one of those Chris Granner games with the style of music from Whitewater and Fishtails, and just it hooks you.
Oh, just one other final note. We will not have a broadcast next week because we are going to Chicago. We're going to be at the Pinball Expo. And just to remind you that we will be doing a broadcast from the Pinball Expo, probably broadcasting people that are good like Bowen, and I'll probably be talking because I won't be playing in that by that point. But we look forward to seeing you there. We will be back with more Pinball PAPAtv Live at some point in the future. So thank you for joining us, and happy flipping.